traditional OA, I noticed from my limited experience, like 30, 40 sellers come on, it's supply and demand. Now there's a ton of supply, and maybe the demand's not too high, the price goes down. And they always say in traditional OA, you have to be the first one in or the first one out, or the last one out, right? Yeah. But with E to A, like you don't have to worry about that as much. So there's pros to it, but then the con, I would say, is like, hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Steve over here with Rake and Profit over at rakeandprofit.com. Coming back to you with another video with the one and only Josiah. What's going on, man?
It's going.
Damn, that's quite the hand. Man, that's like, he's from Alaska, man. Those Alaskan handshakes, man, pretty strong.
Yeah, arm wrestles with the Grizzlies. You know what it is.
So it's really cool. We're actually here in Oklahoma, near Tulsa, Catoosa. We're out in the middle of nowhere. We're at this 7,000 square foot little mini mansion, right? We got like 24, 25, 23. I've been saying different numbers in every interview. We got like over 20 eBay to Amazon people here. Josiah, tell everybody, how long have you been doing eBay to Amazon? Because, you know, it's funny. I talk about you a lot in videos, and yeah, like a lot of times people will credit me like, oh, you did such a great job. You pioneered eBay to Amazon. I'm like, no, I didn't. Like, and I point fingers at like you. I point fingers at Checkmate Flips, at Ben. Like, I've learned from a lot of people, and I want to thank you. I credit you because I still remember when we started talking, what was that, maybe a year ago on Instagram, and we were chatting, and I was like, holy crap. And you've definitely helped a lot of people. So this is Josiah. How long have you been doing eBay to Amazon?
Yeah. So probably the easiest way to answer that is go back a little. In 2019, I started with used books like a lot of people. Scout IQ, did that for a while. Took the cherry picking kind of to the max I could take it to.
Not too long ago. Wow.
Yeah. And then in 2020, started getting into retail arbitrage. And through retail arbitrage, trying to find leads, basically products that I found in the store and I wanted more of.
Yeah.
I stumbled upon.
We always want more.
Yeah. And so I think it was at some point in 2020, probably later in the year, that I was like, hey, this stuff is available on eBay, and started dabbling.
But everyone told you can't buy on eBay. You're going to get kicked off, right?
Yeah.
Did you hear that?
I mean, there's definitely a lot of fear around the invoices and stuff. And
yeah. But you did it anyways because you're a dangerous man living out of Alaska.
Dangerous. And I think what it came back to mindset-wise was, for me, I had IP complaints with Walmart invoices and things like that, and Amazon rejected those. And so it's like, well, even traditional OA isn't that safe.
So what you're saying is there's always risk no matter what you're doing. There's probably more risk with E to A, let's just be honest, but there's still risk with other models.
And then coming from used books from a thrift store, what invoices you got for those?
It's the same thing as E to A. There's no difference.
Yeah. So, you know, it's all risk management. Everyone's got their own tolerances and what they're comfortable with. But yeah, to answer the question, at some point in 2020, I started dabbling with eBay, and then it kind of grew from there.
And it's funny, I tell people all the time, when I started eBay to Amazon, I would literally open up my Amazon seller app and hit the little camera sign, go to eBay newly listed, go to like DVDs, and I would just scan the covers.
No kidding.
To see what was valuable. I was I just didn't know. Like, there was nobody talking about it online. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll turn eBay into my thrift store. You know, you could just scan the barcodes, but obviously there's no barcode. And I started finding deals. Like, I was actually making money, but I was like scanning for like 30 hours a week, like a freaking complete imbecile. How did you start eBay to Amazon? I'm gonna assume you were a bit more intellectual than me.
You know, it was
a couple steps up.
Yeah, it started with Google searches, because I'd find discontinued products in store. They'd sell like crazy, and be like, I want more. And I'd Google the UPC or the title and be like, this thing's out of stock everywhere. But time and time again, Google Shopping would throw up a couple eBay.
Oh yeah, Google Shopping's legit.
Yeah, it was starting with products I had already sold, and then searching the UPCs and titles on eBay to find more of them.
So you sold a tool or an electronic or DVD for 80, and you're like, oh, let me go try to find this somewhere else. You're in Alaska. It's not like you're...
Exactly. Yeah. Basically trying to replenish what I had.
Interesting.
Good experience with.
So you're doing like some manual searching. So you weren't no scanning of the eBay items blind.
Oh yeah, that's how I started, and then from there I started realizing some of the eBay sellers I was buying from had good storefronts. They had a lot of stuff. So I started looking at the other stuff they were selling. And so really I'd start, I guess, kind of like you, manually searching eBay to Amazon.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this product looks interesting in their eBay store. Let me search this on Amazon.
I just didn't have like a ton of data because I was selling like a lot of like lower end stuff. So for me, like eBay to Amazon's not really worth it for items that are selling like for 20, 30, 40 bucks. For me, it's like you want to find the items you're selling for 50, 60, 70, 100, 200 because you have a better chance of finding it on eBay at a price that allows you to have margin. So
yeah,
so you started doing that.
Yeah, and then from there, I was trying to figure out there's got to be a better way to use something like tactical arbitrage to scrub eBay. And I found like some obscure YouTube video that somebody once showed how to put a eBay storefront into a tactical arbitrage.
You taught me that back in the day before you knew about some of the other techniques that we've all been learning over the last year and a half.
That was my main like sourcing method for.
Do you remember teaching me that? Do you remember teaching?
I remember talking about it. Yeah.
Because I was doing manual sourcing. I'm like, oh, tactical arbitrage. But then tell them we found something better than that. A better software. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think it was Ben at one point. I was talking to him on the phone. He's like, "You ever use FlipMine?" I was like, "Nah, I never heard of it." And I was like, "I'm comfortable with what I got." 8 or 9 months later, I was like, "Yeah, we're looking at this FlipMine thing."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Wow, this is awesome." And so at this point, yeah, I don't do tactical arbitrage anymore.
Yeah.
There's still opportunity there, but FlipMine's pretty powerful.
The thing is, and I don't own FlipMine. He doesn't own FlipMine. But the thing, do you?
No, I don't.
You look so relaxed on this trip, man. Maybe you're making that FlipMine money.
Yeah.
The thing with tactical arbitrage, I'll just put this, it's complicated to use. Even like, it's just hard. Like FlipMine is so easy. Like if you're new, if you're trying to learn about eBay to Amazon, just check out FlipMine. I'm telling you, it's cool. It's not for like beginners. Like if you've never thrifted before, start with that. But so when you found FlipMine, did that start to kind of change the game for you? Because you're doing what, like 80 to 100K a month now, E to A?
Yeah, we've been steady at 100 every month for about the last year.
And I'm guessing what, 20% margins, 25 gross?
Yeah, in that range. Yep.
Yeah, so, which isn't bad.
Pretty healthy.
And you only have what, one VA?
One VA.
So it's a pretty small.
And all the voices in my head.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Oh, well, that, for all us Amazon sellers, we got a couple voices in our head. I love this. Why am I doing this? I quit.
Yeah.
I'm gonna become a millionaire.
And now I'm broke.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, the ups and downs of it.
So one thing about Josiah, which is really cool, so we had like a bunch of presentations and stuff. So anyone who's in the eBay to Amazon masterclass or anything, and the funny thing is Josiah you didn't go through my program or anything. You've kind of learned on your own, which is good to know. It's good to know there is support there. Obviously I offer it, but you can do this on your own as well. You did this on your own, you learned on your own, but he was teaching everybody during the presentations, which I shared the masterclass because I'm gonna put it in the masterclass. You're literally almost like a one-man show. Like you didn't even have VAs for the longest time, right? You kind of did this. He uses a prep center. He's not prepping his stuff. He's not shipping his stuff. Matter of fact, I don't even think you see it physically, right? You don't even touch it.
Just the returns.
Yeah, just the returns, right? They show up in a pallet, right? Once every 6 months.
Man. Yeah, that's gonna fix that.
So it just goes to prove like you don't need a huge team to do this, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So you're literally just your prep center, one VA. Do you do any sourcing at all?
I do some of the sourcing, and the VA does a lot of sourcing, and so I don't know. She does maybe 60%. I do 40%. At this point, I'm doing all the purchasing myself.
Yeah.
That's like what I find to be the most valuable thing I spend my time on.
And are you actually able to, because a lot of people in this business, you were talking about setting your goalpost, right? And we'll talk about this, but a lot of people in this business, they're moving their goalpost more and more farther out. What I mean by that is like, you might start doing eBay to Amazon, you hit your $5,000 a month, and then you hit 10. You say, I want to do 20, and you move it to 20, then you move it to 50 and 100, and you're just reinvesting all the profits back in. You're not paying yourself, but you've gotten to a point where you've actually solidified your goalpost at what, 100,000 a month, and you're like, I don't want to grow anymore. I just want to be comfortable. And are you paying yourself?
Yeah. We've been living off of this since 2020 and really steadily paying ourselves since I think some point in 2021 when the cash flow was pretty consistent.
So you're using E2A, your E2A business to pay all your bills?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
Have one other small income stream, but for the most part, that's the large majority of what we pay our bills with. And then our other business, we just keep reinvesting. I don't think we've ever taken money out of it. Yeah,
and a cool thing about Josiah as well is he also takes his money, because I know you pay your bills with the cash flow, but you also reinvest it into your Turo business, right?
Yeah. So got our first Turo rental vehicle in 2021 and enjoyed the experience. Saw the numbers were good, the return on our investment and such, and looked at it as another way to diversify our income, and vehicles are a good tax write-off, things like that. And so it's kind of grown over the last couple of years to eight vehicles now. And
wow.
So, pretty excited about that. That's kind of the next project on the list. Like, what level do we want to take?
Yeah.
So now we're thinking about what's the goalpost for that.
Yeah.
How many vehicles do we want? How much revenue are we looking for? And so that's exciting to have.
That's cool. That's cool. So let's get into speed mode. mode now, okay? I want to get into, literally, it's like the Scout IQ speed mode. I want to hit you over the head with some questions, but I just want quick responses. I want to know what's at the tip of your mind when I say certain things. And I want you to be real. I don't want this to be like, ooh, I'm going to just say it because, you know, we're at the E2A mastermind house. Like, I want the good, the bad. I just want what comes to the top of your head.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the future of eBay to Amazon?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think there's
3 to 5 years we'll talk.
Definitely great opportunity in the next year.
Where's it going to be in 100 years?
Yeah, and I have thought at times, like, what's the sustainability of arbitrage in general on Amazon, retail, online, and I think of all of those, maybe wholesale is the most sustainable, or something like used items like books. But I think in the near future, 3 to 5 years, tons of opportunity. Yeah, I don't see it going anywhere.
Yeah. Why did you choose eBay to Amazon over what a lot of people are doing is like OA, Nike, like, and even I hear a lot of people like from my YouTube, Instagram, everything, like, I want to go OA, like traditional OA. I want to buy from Kohl's and Target and Walmart. And I know people doing well with that. Why E2A? It seems like E2A is kind of like this forbidden fruit. Why are you biting into the forbidden fruit, Josiah?
Sure, yeah, it's tempting.
You got Zach laughing behind the camera. Steve went there on this one.
I'll say for me, I tried the OA stuff, and we talked. You mentioned earlier tactical arbitrage and the complexities of it. I think
I'm smart enough for it.
I was trying to do OA through tactical arbitrage, and through manual storefront stalking, and it just never clicked. I found some stuff here and there, but I felt like my wheels were spinning. And myself, like you, I've sold on eBay on and off for 10 or more years. So I feel like I have a really good understanding of the eBay platform, how to search, how to filter, what it's like to be a seller. I can like go into the seller's mind and think about what they're thinking, and maybe what would be an appealing offer to them. And so the eBay to Amazon stuff, it just clicked and it worked.
Same here.
Like, this is working for me, even though everybody else is saying that's risky. Like it's going well.
Yeah,
I'm gonna keep in this niche.
What would you say to the folks out there? And I'll preface this by saying I think there's risks all across the board on Amazon, and I would say that thrifting and eBay to Amazon without invoices is certainly riskier. I would say at the top is like drop shipping, and then you probably have like thrifting and anything without an invoice, and then I would say you probably have OA, and then probably like wholesale and private label are the safest, but they cost a ton of money, right?
Yeah, sure.
What would you say to folks who are like, and there was actually a guy here talking about, he was talking to a person, and the person was warning him like, don't do E to A, you do E to A, like you're gonna get kicked off. They have like a 1 year lifespan, like they're gonna be gone. Like you've been doing this for what, three years? Checkmate's been doing it for 3, at about the 2 year mark. Is it for everybody? Like if you're scared of not having invoices, I mean, like how realistic is the threat of getting kicked off based on your experience? And of course, we've been doing this 2 to 3 years, so who knows? Maybe at the 5 year mark we all expire, but
yeah, I'll say in my case, I think I'm in a better position than most. I happened to open my account 10 years ago to sell one college textbook. And so I know that my account is safer than newer accounts.
There's history,
Yeah, so if I was a brand new seller just opening an account right now, I don't know what I would do. I think
I would not do E2A.
Like be a riskier move.
Do books and everything for at least, what I would do is just sell as many products as possible, like books and different things. It's still risky with books, but I feel like with used items from thrift stores, it's probably less risky than new from E to A.
Yeah.
Actually, let me ask you, like, at what point should people try E to A? Like 3 months, 6 months, year? Like everybody, there's no right or wrong answer.
Yeah, I really don't know, but I think it would
be a specific number. No, I'm just kidding.
45 days.
At the 45-day mark, you're good to go.
I think it would be good to have some account history.
Yeah, I agree.
Maybe something that's a little safer, traditional RA. And also, for me, I'm glad the progression I did with books and then RA and then into the OA and E to A. Like the learning process of what I picked up through all that has greatly benefited me. Instead of if I had tried to jump right into some sort of OA from the beginning.
What do you think's your favorite category to get into? Without,
we're not going to talk about this.
What's your top 5 ASINs? Maybe for a beginner. Let's put it like for a beginner, someone who, they've had their account for 3 to 6 months, they've sold, they understand keep, they understand how to ship, list, all that stuff.
Generally like hard goods that you can see in a photo have a seal and they have a clear UPC or model number. And so for a lot of things that'll lead you towards like electronics kind of categories.
What are your thoughts on books and DVDs?
I've never messed with them for online kind of arbitrage. It just I don't know. I kind of got tired of cherry picking books, and I'm like, I'm ready to move on to other stuff.
There's people who kill it with it, like Joji Davenport. Go follow. I've shouted him out in a couple of the interviews. He's actually a chemistry teacher. Do you know Joji at all?
I've chatted with him briefly on Instagram.
He sells like a ton of high ticket textbooks. That's actually that's a good course name. Joji, hightickettextbooks.com.
10x.
Highttickettextbooks.com. Okay. So
I guess the other thing is when you're talking about textbooks and things like that, it's a little longer tail. As I was starting out, I wanted quicker flips so I could keep that cash flow rolling. And I know there's a ton of opportunity with what Joji's doing, but I think my attention span is shorter than his.
Yeah. He's way smarter than all of us. I tell Joji all the time, when Joji talks to you, I totally understand. How fast does your items turn over? Like when you, like for me, so over the last year and a half, I've sold well over 5,000 DVDs, but my average DVDs, people are like, oh, you got to get DVDs that are like 20, 30, 40,000 rank. I sold tons of DVDs, Josiah, that were 80 to 120,000 rank. They only had 3 to 5 sales a month.
Wow. Okay.
They took a month or 2 or 3 months to sell.
Sure.
They had higher ROI, but like my turn rate was much lower. Now with electronics that I'm doing and tools and home improvement and business industrial, like a lot of my stuff sells within 30 days or less. What about you with your products? Do they turn quicker, or are you doing like longer tail, like higher profit? You're willing to take less to turn them faster?
I usually go for the quicker things, and I've
get in, get out.
I've gone back and forth, but recently I've been I try to buy about 2 to 3 weeks worth of inventory, and I found that to be a sweet spot that works for me. And so if there's an item that sells less than like 3 times a month, I feel like that would be my slice of the pie. I'd probably pass on it.
And you were saying during the presentations yesterday, again, for the masterclass folks, check it out. We're gonna most likely put it in there. You love multiple quantities, so you're buying, like, you like to buy 3, 4, 5, 10 at a time of a single ASIN, and you said that saves you time because you don't have to source as much, you don't have to prep as much, they all kind of go together. Have you always been doing like multiple quantities?
I think as I was trying to scale, I realized the ways to scale are either I get a wider net and get more ASINs, or I just double down on what's working and focus on the stuff that can move volume. And then within that, I kind of found different ways to find the eBay sellers that have the quantity and kind of network with them.
And a lot of people ask me why I moved from, because I was like 95% DVDs E to A up until like 5-6 months ago. Now I do a lot of the similar stuff you do, and people ask me, why did I do it? And you mentioned this yesterday, with the more ASINs, the more products you have, that's more risk of the prep center messing up. That's more risk of like returns. There's just more, the more money, more problems, right? It's like more ASINs, more problems. And one thing I'm really trying to do is model what you're doing, because you have some significantly less ASINs than I do. So do you prefer having less ASINs because it just feels like less problems?
Yeah, it's a lot easier to monitor and control. When you talk about repricing and things like that, I never do, but I could probably reprice my whole list in a short portion of the day. But when you have thousands of ASINs or whatever it might be, that's a big project.
Do you use a repricer?
Yeah, I use Be Cool right now.
Be Cool.
I've been pretty happy with that.
Okay, do you use the AI or do you use the cheaper version?
Yeah, the AI.
It's like $100 a month or something. Something like that. I'm actually curious, what other tools do you use for someone who's doing 100K a month, around 20, 25K gross, or something you said around there, 25% margins? What are your top tools? So you got Be Cool repricing, FlipMine for sourcing, analyzing deals, SellerAmp.
Keepa, actually use RevSeller.
RevSeller's very popular.
My VA, when I hired her a year or two ago, was like, you should get RevSeller, and I had like nothing at that point.
A lot of the OA
that was a good add-on.
It's really good for like checking variations and different things.
Yeah, I've never used SellerAmp, but I'm happy with it.
I think it's all the same, dude, to be honest. It's like the different listing softwares, and they're all somewhat similar with little nuances, even with repricers. I think there's Aura, Be Cool, Channel Max. What else do you use? Anything else that stands out? So you got your repricer, you're analyzing. I don't know if I use anything else either. What that might be.
I have a refund manager through
Carbon 6, yes.
Seller Investigators, I think.
Yes. So that's when you sell on Amazon, you're going to have items that like get lost or issues, or they're supposed to give you money back for being damaged at FBA. And guess what? Amazon doesn't do it. So these softwares will go in and open up cases on your behalf and get you money back. And I think they get you $100, they take probably 20% or something like that. What do you dislike most about E to A? Let's flip it.
What do I
never,
dislike
Yeah, I've
most?
never asked anybody actually at the house. We're talking like we're amping it up, but like what?
That's a good question.
What's not like, and I've never even thought of this for myself. Like, is there any, I don't like invoices. I don't like the fact that if I get IPs or counterfeits that.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't like that.
That's the most
That's something I don't like, but that's so obvious.
The quantity of supply can be annoying sometimes. You find something that's amazing ROI and the product's flying, but you just can't find it anymore because it's discontinued, hard to find. eBay sellers can be tough to interact with sometimes. They have creative ways of shipping or marketing their
I got something in a
products.
diaper the other day.
A diaper?
Yep, I get a lot of cereal boxes. Diaper was only one. You have a prep center.
I don't know what my prep center gets. See, I ordered one the other day to my house to merchant fulfill because I wanted hands-on to look at it, and it came in a regular box.
Yeah.
Opened it up, and the packing material was pages torn out of a book. Somebody told me it was one of Gary Vee's books. Which is pretty funny.
Really?
I didn't recognize it.
There was another funny one I got. This was probably like 6 months ago. What are those things on the tablecloths? You know how like you might have like 6 spots for a tablecloth? They took all their tablecloths and like wrapped it all up and like put it in like a rubber band, and it was like, what are those little box games? Like you get a gift and you have to like you take the box and there's a smaller box.
The little puzzle.
Yeah, there was like,
yeah.
And then it was like wrapped in a bag. So I took the bag off, and then it was like a paper towel, and then it was like a table. I'm like, what is this person doing? At the end, there's just a diaper, a dirty diaper. No.
Yeah. So related to that, the conditioning of the items can sometimes be difficult, and eBay sellers probably are generally optimistic as to the condition that they have. They'll say it's brand new. I only used the toothbrush twice.
Who cares if the $260 Lego set that I'm going to sell for $400 has a big dent in the corner? No need to take a picture of that. It's
I only built it once and I put it back in the box. That thing's new.
Yeah, you have to be careful with the EDA, checking the pictures, the description, looking at the feedback. Cool, man. So what's your plan for Q4, man? Q4 is to kind of close off this interview, right? What's the plan for Q4, man? Anything special you're doing, or?
Probably nothing too special this year. I've in previous years kind of chased some of the retail arbitrage bolos and merchant fulfilled them, and I'll see what comes up in early December, and maybe I'll do that for fun, but that's not like a set plan. Other than that, I'll just continue to churn what I'm working on right now. Probably purchase a little deeper on some of them as velocity rises, but at this point, I'm not really into the toys and games and some of the hot sellers for Christmas aren't really categories I mess with.
That's a good thing about eBay to Amazon. Like, you don't have to go wild. It's not like you make all your money in Q4. Like, we're going after like harder to come across stuff, like electronics that are discontinued, items that you like they're not in stores anymore. We're not going like I'm sure there's eat-away flippers who go after like newer stuff, but I feel like that's higher risk of IPs and counterfeits, and brands don't necessarily, like, we're going after hard to find stuff. So even if we want, it's not like OA where we could buy 50 of an item. Like, and that's another thing I actually like about eat-away is price tanking, but not as often, because price tanking happens because normally it's because there's an idiot on the listing, but if you get a good item, the idiot sells out and it comes back. But on traditional OA, I noticed from my limited experience, like 30, 40 sellers come on, it's supply and demand. Now there's a ton of supply, and maybe the demand's not too high, the price goes down. And they always say in traditional OA, you have to be the first one in or the first one out, or the last one out, right? Yeah. But with E to A, like, you don't have to worry about that as much. So there's pros to it, but then the con, I would say, is like, you're not going to be able to go find, 67 toners or LG, whatever, Logitech. Yeah. What are the webcams? Yeah. I love, oh man, blow that out. But yeah, man, that's about it. Any final words of wisdom you would like to share to folks who are thinking about getting into eBay to Amazon? For folks, from the veteran, from the legend, Josiah.
Doing it for so long. In the trenches.
Your guru.
Well, careful. Don't insult me like that.
For the first 500 people who like this video, you're going to get a life-size poster of Josiah to put in your room.
That's right, and t-shirts.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I would say the biggest thing that I've benefited over the years with all the different models I've tried is going slow. Ooh. and taking it easy, learning along the way. Not jumping in too quickly to something, especially if you're going to try something like E to A, where there could be a little more risk.
I love that advice.
Take it slow. Don't all of a sudden spend 50 grand in the next week.
Should they
you decide you want to try?
Should they compare themselves to you and be like, oh, I'm doing it for 1 month, I'm gonna try to match Josiah?
Yeah. You gotta be careful with comparison. You don't know what people are selling. You don't know what their margins are.
You don't even know if they're making money.
Right, and you unless you know them personally, don't really know how long they've been doing it.
Take it all with a grain of salt.
It takes time to grow, build the knowledge and the experience, and even after doing this a couple years, I still learn things new every month or two. Like, man, why have I never tried this thing with Amazon or etail model?
Yeah, and I'm sure you still I still make tons of mistakes. I'm sure you do too. And you're like, all right, let's not do that again.
Yeah, and I think that goes back to the taking it slow, because you probably will make your biggest mistakes when you're new to it. And if you take it slow, those won't be drastic, devastating losses.
And the last question I'll ask you, how important was it for you to have like a community? Like, did you have a couple friends? I know you and Seth, Checkmate Flips, go follow Checkmate Flips.
Sure.
How helpful was it for you to have some people you can talk to and bounce ideas off of? Like, did that make you feel better or have more confidence or...
Yeah, I think that's a struggle for a lot of entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
And especially, I look at my local friends where I live, and I can't relate to them a lot with their day-to-day jobs and things like that. So it was big to start connecting with people through social media.
Yeah.
And then I attended one of the Miami conferences and met some of those people in person.
I'm so pissed that we didn't talk because we didn't really know each other that much.
Yeah, back in 2022.
I was doing like, I don't know what I was doing, but I was doing way less than I was now. I was doing like $8 grand a month or something.
Sure. But yeah, that's been really big. Yeah. I haven't done a ton of networking. Like, this is probably the second.
You seem a bit introverted, but you're not. Like, you're extroverted, but you kind of stay to yourself.
Yeah. That's pretty accurate. You figured me out.
Yeah.
I think this is only the second Amazon related meetup I've been to, and I'm glad. I should. It would be good for me to try to do something like this.
You got family and everything too, but yeah, I mean, it always helps. But you're doing a great job, man. Thank you so much for coming on. For folks who want to follow Josiah, again, he's been a mentor of mine, even though he might not admit it, but he's helped me out a lot. Checkmates helped me out a lot. Follow their YouTube channel. I'm gonna put it on the screen. Do you want to shout it out real quick?
Thank you. Yeah, Entrepreneurial, and we kind of started it back when I was leaving the military as a way to share with other people our journey, going from a stable income to the scary world of making money on your own. And kind of our goal along the way was just encourage people to take the leap and do it, because it is possible. There's tons of people doing it successfully, like Steve, who's been on his own for years making money through different income streams. So,
all right.
Yeah.
Well, there it is. Appreciate you guys. Much love.
Thanks so much.
Bye.